This is the story of how the first person convicted in rapper Julio Foolio's murder didn't actually beat the case, and why the headlines got it completely wrong. Charles Andrew Jones II, known professionally as Julio Foolio, was shot and killed in a Tampa hotel parking lot on June 23, 2024, just 2 days after turning 26. Bullets struck his heart, lungs, and aorta while he sat in his black Dodge Charger, and 3 masked shooters exited a black Chevrolet Impala carrying 2 AR-style rifles and a Glock pistol. The Glock alone put more than 30 rounds into the scene, wounding 3 other people who survived. Random violence had nothing to do with this. A gang war had been tearing through Jacksonville, Florida for over a decade, claiming dozens of lives and turning social media into a place where people celebrated murders in real time. Foolio ran with the 6 Block gang from Jacksonville's Moncrief neighborhood, and his enemies were ATK, which stands for Ace's Top Killers, along with their allied gang called 1200. Back in 2017, someone shot and killed Foolio's 18-year-old cousin Zion Malik Brown in his own home, and that's when the bloodshed really started. Retaliation came in 2018 when rival rapper Youngeen Ace took a bullet and his brother along with 2 friends died in the attack. Foolio posted derogatory content about the dead victims on social media, which was like throwing gasoline on a fire already burning out of control. Florida drill music was born from this street beef by 2021. Youngeen Ace dropped a track called Who I Smoke, and Foolio fired back with When I See You. But these weren't just diss tracks, they were musical body counts that named real murder victims. Violence spilled beyond the lyrics too, and Foolio took bullets multiple times before his death. Houston saw him wounded in July 2023, and someone shot him in the foot while he drove through Jacksonville in October 2023. After one shooting, he posted on Instagram Live saying, "I ain't dead yet. I can't die, dummy. I got voodoo on me." Turned out, he didn't. Tampa became his destination in June 2024 for his birthday celebration, and he posted about it on Instagram over 7 days, broadcasting his location to his 1.7 million monthly Spotify listeners. Between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. on June 22nd, he announced he'd be at Teaser's nightclub, and when an Airbnb kicked him out for exceeding occupancy limits, he tried booking a hotel room at the Home 2 Suites. That's where they caught up to him. 5 arrests eventually came out of his murder. 4 of them were shooters and planners, documented gang members now facing the death penalty, but the 5th person stood apart from the rest. Alicia Andrews was 21 years old at the time, and prosecutors admitted she wasn't a gang member, never fired a weapon, and wasn't even present when the guns got packed. What the state claimed she did was track Foolio's movements so the shooters could find him. 2 vehicles made the trip from Jacksonville to Tampa that night, a silver Chevrolet Cruze and a black Chevrolet Impala. Andrews rode in the Cruze with her boyfriend Isaiah Chance Jr., a documented ATK gang member, and license plate readers confirmed both vehicles traveled together. Prosecutors said Andrews and Chance followed Foolio to 3 separate locations, exiting their vehicle at each spot while Chance worked his cell phone, and after the phone communication, the Impala with the shooters would roll up. Following to the next location became the pattern, repeating at 2 different nightclubs, and Chance used Andrew's phone to communicate with one of the shooters' phones. 4:38 a.m. is when one vehicle drove past Foolio's parked cars twice in the Home 2 Suites parking lot. 3 masked shooters climbed out and opened fire, their AR-style rifles equipped with brass catchers to collect spent shell casings. 31 shell casings from the Glock littered the scene, and Foolio's Charger absorbed bullets through the windshield, passenger side, driver's side, with the rear window completely blown out. July 27, 2024 brought arrests for Andrews, Isaiah Chance Jr., and another shooter named Sean Gathright. Rashad Murphy went down after an hours-long SWAT standoff 3 days later, and the 5th suspect, Davion Murphy, stayed on the run for more than 6 months until January 6, 2025. Alicia Andrews became the first to face trial in an 8-day proceeding that ended on October 31, 2025. Death penalty charges didn't apply to her like the others, but first-degree premeditated murder and conspiracy to commit murder still hung over her head, and Florida law says you can be held accountable for a death even even if you never pulled a trigger, as long as you participated in planning it. Her defense built everything around one argument: she was a victim herself. Testimony from Andrews described an abusive relationship with Isaiah Chance Jr., and she showed the jury pictures of bruises on her face, along with text messages revealing Chance getting upset about her Instagram posts. Disagreements with him meant he might hit her or break her phone, she claimed, and she told the court she didn't know they were going to Tampa, didn't know they were hunting Foolio, and never laid eyes on any weapons. Fear of Chance still gripped her, she said, because a corrections officer told her he tried to have her jumped by other inmates while they were both locked up. The prosecution brought receipts. A text message Andrews sent back in 2021 when she was just 17 said Foolio needed to die, and her explanation came out as, "Yeah, but I didn't mean it. I was 17 and just gossiping." Despite claiming terror of Chance, she was making three-way calls through his mother to speak with him from jail and sending intimate messages, and phone records showed daily communication between them while they both sat in custody. Surveillance footage showed Andrews following Foolio to multiple locations, and at one point she separated from the group, staying at the Airbnb, posting on social media about jewelry and food, while the male co-defendants went to the nightclub. Deleting her text conversations with Chance after Jones took bullets came straight from her own admission, and she also admitted lying to police during her interrogation. Nearly 4 hours of deliberation brought a verdict: not guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, but guilty of manslaughter. Headlines in social media twisted the story right here. Some outlets reported she beat the murder charge like she walked free, but that's not what happened. Manslaughter is still a homicide conviction, carrying up to 15 years in prison in Florida, and she didn't beat anything. The jury just didn't believe she intended for Foolio to die, even when they believed her actions contributed to his death. December 8, 2025 was supposed to bring her sentencing. 4 days earlier, her legal team filed a motion to disqualify Judge Michelle Cisco, claiming bias, hostile comments, and humiliation of the defense team, and on January 29, 2026, the state appeals court granted the request. Judge Cisco got removed from the case, a new judge will have to be appointed, and her sentencing sits in limbo indefinitely. Foolio's mother, Sondricus Mays, needs to be addressed here. Despite what some headlines suggest, no verified public statements from her exist specifically reacting to Alicia Andrews' verdict, and while TikTok posts claim she requested maximum sentencing, reliable news sources can't confirm any of that. What we know for certain is that Sondricus Mays spoke out about her son's death from the beginning. A July 2024 interview with Newsweek had her blaming rap music for what happened, saying, "We have to understand that Charles wasn't getting shot at because he killed somebody, because he robbed somebody, because anything like that." Urging him to change his lifestyle was her constant push, and she put it this way: "I stayed on you about this beef chit, cussed you out, begged you to take stuff down." Drill music never got her approval, she made that clear. Something haunting came out too. She herself took 8 bullets at some point, though the time frame isn't clear. Survival came with a cost, and she said her life was changed, which might explain why she was so desperate for her son to stop the cycle. After Foolio's death, she took control of his Instagram account and announced plans for a documentary called The Real Life Story, promising to tell the untold truth. Her son shouldn't be remembered as a dog on a street, but someone who touched a lot of people's lives, and thousands of messages came from people around the world, from Africa, Russia, the UK, telling her that his music helped them cope with difficult things. April 6, 2026 is when the 4 other defendants, Isaiah Chance Jr., Sean Gathright, Rashad Murphy, and Davion Murphy, go to trial together. Death penalty charges apply to all 4, and prosecutors are pushing for the ultimate punishment, arguing they planned and executed a calculated murder as part of an ongoing gang war. One shooter, Sean Gathright, connects to a previous attempt on Foolio's life. Ballistic evidence proved the same gun used in the October 7, 2023 shooting, when Foolio took a bullet to the foot, was also used in his murder, which means they'd been trying to kill him for months. Alicia Andrews didn't beat the murder case. Conviction for killing someone came through, and years in prison likely await her. But the real question is whether 15 years is enough for helping orchestrate the murder of a 26-year-old who never made it past his birthday weekend. A jury decided she didn't intend for Foolio to die, but she drove the car that led the killers to his location, helped track his movements across Tampa, and 2 days after he turned 26, Julio Foolio was shot in a parking lot while the people who'd been following him all night finally got their chance. The gang war that took Foolio's life started over a decade ago and has claimed dozens of victims. His death didn't end it. The violence continues, just with one less rapper posting about it on Instagram and one less mother waiting for her son to come home.